Hi, this is Team 24, and I'll be presenting on Rooted for our final project of EECS 497. So before we get into exactly what Rooted is, I kind of want to focus on, what was our original goal, what inspired us, and what kind of problem did we want to focus on. So the original that we came to mind with was there's often groups of people that are struggling to find friends and communities that match their culture and identity. So some example of groups of people like this would be maybe immigrants, people that are moving across the country for new jobs, students, international students, foster kids, military, there's a wide plethora of people that might be struggling to, make these connections in new areas. And so the kind of the goal of our web-based app was we want to, help those newcomers form meaningful community and connections. And then some barriers that we were thinking about was like the limited access to region locked devices, language challenges, and then cost barriers. And we also wanted to put a emphasis on, what already exists out there and how can we make ours better. So, for example, something that exists is Facebook, but obviously, Facebook's used for a lot of different things, making the app very, very complicated, and maybe not easy to use for, all age groups or, people's backgrounds. And so we wanted to make something that was very focused on, just meeting people in the local community that maybe you're moving to and you don't know exactly where to start, but you know your interests and you want to, form those connections with people that are also interested in the same things. And so the solution we came up with was Rooted. And what this app does or website does exactly is it, has all the local things going on in your area. And you'll first, you'll sign in, you'll take a survey. You'll say, where you're from, what city you're in, what languages you speak, what you're interested in, kind of getting a background about you. So then we can curate a For You page of events that we think that you might want to go to, you might enjoy, and you might be able to meet people in the area with similar interests to you as well. And then another cool thing is that you can also make your own events. And so maybe you already have something that you're interested in and you want to just invite people to, come out to your thing. So you can also post events on our website, and allow people to RSVP for those and meet people that way as well. And so, who are the target users? As I kind of went over before, this is like immigrants, relocated families, foster children, and people moving for jobs. And so, just making those meaningful connections, I feel like is the overarching solution for what Rooted is and what we wanted to solve for people that were struggling.
Next, our team will take you through various user scenarios through login, sign up, event interaction, as well as event creation, and other scenarios that fully encapsulate the platform of Rooted.
We'll first walk through the app as a new user. Meet Anna, a newcomer to Ann Arbor. She's recently moved from Spain for work, doesn't have a strong social network, and her English and tech skills are intermediate. She needs a simple, secure way to build her social network. Let's show her sign up experience by clicking on Create New Account. Our platform is designed to get you started right away. We create a new profile with a simple survey that deliberately requires minimal information so 90% of users can create a profile in under 2 minutes. By having less information, our platform can strive to be secure and not be perceived as an application looking to sell or use user data. Anna has intermediate English and tech skills. Setting her language to Spanish and adding interests is quick and easy. This supports different digital literacy levels and helps her connect immediately. From here, we press Sign Up, and the account is already in Anna's preferred language of Spanish. We can choose our accessibility preferences to complete the process and are brought to the home page. The layout and colors are reused across screens so users aren't constantly relearning the interface. Anna is signed up and ready to find her community. We return to the Rooted login page as Anna. She has used her app once and created an account and is coming back to log in, this time on an older laptop. Notice the login page is clean, minimal, and highly accessible with large fields and a clear button. Her login is instant and she's immediately taken to the home dashboard. We can see again it's still in her preferred language of Spanish, which she set during account creation. We know our users might be on older or low-cost devices. That's why our application is engineered to run seamlessly on any browser from the last 15 years or so. We avoided heavy frameworks on the client side and pages are server rendered to stay fast. Anna is successfully logged in and is back to finding her community. Now let's walk through our accessibility options. The core of our design philosophy is inclusivity. We house all accessibility settings in this dedicated preferences panel to make Rooted easier to use from the very first visit. Language is a core requirement for us. Right now, we support a few common languages, including English and Spanish. Changing the language is instant, and because we route all text through a translator, adding more languages for immigrants or non-English speakers is straightforward. Here you can see how simple it is to translate into French and then back into English again. Next, we support users with visual sensitivities or older screens. You can choose black and white mode for low light conditions, or select high contrast to ensure all text and buttons stand out sharply. For users who might find apps like Facebook or Meetup overwhelming, we offer controls over interface complexity. Selecting simple strips away extra visuals like the map view, so users with low tech confidence see just the basics: event names, times, and locations. These preferences directly support our requirement to be accessible on older tech and to handle different technology literacy levels. Rooted is more like a friendly flyer that helps you get to the right room than a full social network. Our goal is to ensure everyone is able to use the app successfully to find their community.
The next user scenario is rating events you attended. For context, let's say Anna went to a local holiday party. Now she wants to leave feedback. In Anna's dashboard, you have upcoming events, past events, etc. In the past events now, you can see the holiday party that she had previously attended. Using her drop-down rating, Anna had rated the holiday party as good. You can now see that the average rating is a 3. Since she is the only person to have rated it so far, her vote heavily influences the average rating. Let's say Anna wakes up the next morning feeling very sick. She could go back and change her rating and say the holiday party was very poor. There's some checks here. First is that only attendees can rate. Second, only after the event date can they actually rate the event. We plan to support user feedback so that we can measure relevance and satisfaction. Ratings will help future recommendation logic focus on events that actually help newcomers feel included.
Welcome back. Now, let's switch perspectives to the event creation flow, or the user scenario for how to create an event. This could be someone that is a member of a cultural center, a small business, or just an individual user at Rooted, any one of our key stakeholders who want to reach newcomers in their community. So as you can see at our profile picture here, we have a couple things happening with this user. They're attending an event on the 10th. They also had made a upcoming event on the 15th. Now, let's say this user wants to create another event. Let's say another gaming event. We can go simply to right here, create an event, which brings up this intuitive and nice event page. It uses a simple and similar layout pattern that we've used throughout Rooted. For example, a similar pattern to our edit profile. We deliberately avoided a complex multi-step wizard so organizers can post events quickly without friction. Furthermore, we encourage this behavior to creating new events. For example, if you type up something that may not be in the search and explore page, such as Michigan football, nothing may come up. But as you can see, the events for you recommends that we create one with Michigan football. So let's do just that. So in here, we can fill in the essential fields like I started. Event name, very simple, clear, and descriptive. A description, what the event's about. The date and time when it's happening. Location, where people should go, cover photos, and tags. Tags are very important here, as they include language-specific tags such as ESL or Spanish, and any cultural tags that help our personalization algorithm match the right attendees. These link directly with user interest across the entire platform. So let's go ahead and create a Michigan football watch party. Now we can give it a nice personalized emoji, which also helps create media literacy. by having a picture instead of just words. Type in football. Great. Let's have it for the new Citrus Bowl that's going to happen on the 31st. So put it there. We'll start it at the right time, 1 p.m. Let's host it at the Michigan Union. So let's say the Union, Ann Arbor. Now, as you can see, this is not the official title of the Michigan Union, but using the autofill thanks to Leaflet, we're able to not only put in the official address, but also put in the latitude and longitude, the help of our OpenStreetMap map, pinpoint where this event is exactly going to help with our more complex feature for the map. So we'll use tags such as Michigan football, sports, TV, social, food. And if we wanted to, we could choose the cover photo to showcase our event. But I think the message gets a lot across to people. And lastly, we'll add a description, which will tell a little bit more about the event. We'll hit save. And as you can see here, the new event is populated within our My Events page, as well as become a part of our event statistics. We are now back in a normal user or a user who has not created an events profile. As you can see, the events for you is still showing things that they aren't exactly interested in. However, with a simple search of football, Michigan football watch party comes right up. Even though it doesn't have a tag of specifically football, it still shows up thanks to the name and location. As we see here is our event. I think we'll attend. Welcome back. Again, this is Andrew, and I'll be showing you the technical overview of our project.
This includes system architecture, our user flow, the data models, and our technology stack, as well as some clips of code that are important to understanding the high technical overview of this project. First, we'll start with our system architecture diagram. Our application is built on a layered architecture pattern. At the top, we have our front-end layer, which consists of HTML templates, powered by Jinja 2, static CSS, and JavaScript assets. And we use Leaflet for interactive maps. The application layer next is built with Flask, which contains our main app.py file, our authentication blueprint in auth.py, and various route handlers that manage request responses from our data layer and business layer. Next up, like I mentioned, was our business logic layer. Here is really where core functionality comes alive. User management, event management, our personalized recommendation algorithm, and geocoding services that convert addresses to map coordinates all live here and work in tandem with the rest of our application. Next, the data layer uses SQL Alchemy and ORN defined in models.py, which communicates with our SQLite database where all user and event data is stored. Finally, we use minimal external services. We do integrate with Namatin API for geocoding via OpenStreetMap, as well as our email services for password reset functionality. This architecture ensures separation of concerns and makes sure that our applications are maintainable and scalable. Next up is our data model architecture, or our ER diagram. It consists of 4 main entities: our user table, event attendance table, and event rating table, which are all connected. Our user table, as you may know, stores all of our information about our users. Next, our event table stores multilingual event names in English and Spanish with room to expand to various other full translations down the line, descriptions, and also with a conversion of location with latitude and longitude coordinates for our mapping services. Event attendance is a join table that creates a many-to-many relationship between users and events, and it tracks who is attending which events with a timestamp of when they joined. Next, events ratings allows users to rate past events that they've attended, storing a rating value from 1 to 5, and when the rating was created. These relationships enable our personalization algorithm to match users with relevant events based on their interest and past attendance patterns. Next, let's walk through the user journey in Rooted. Our user flow diagram shows that when a user first visits our website, we check if they're authenticated. If not, they will see a login page with options to sign up or use the forgot password feature. Next, new users go through our sign up flow, which includes setting accessibility preferences like language, color mode, and interface complexity. This ensures that from the start, we have an inclusive experience for every user. Once authenticated, users will land on the My Events dashboard, where they can see events they've created, upcoming events they're attending, or past events they can rate. While for a new user, this may be initially empty, this becomes a great way for experienced users to check quickly in on events they have already attended or are going to attend without having to go through the entire application. From this dashboard, users can navigate to three main areas. First, the profile page, where they can edit their information and update their interests, which feeds into our personalization algorithm. Second, the Explore Events page has two views: an interactive leaflet map showing event locations and a traditional list view. Both display a personalized recommendation based on their interests. When users click on an event, they'll see full details and can RSVP to attend. After attending past events, they can rate them, which helps improve recommendations not only for themselves, but for everyone in their community. Third, they can create events, making it easy to organize gatherings and grow the Rooted community. This flow encourages engagement while respecting user preferences and accessibility needs, as well as minimal interactivity within the platform. Lastly, we have the technology stack. And Rooted is built on modern, reliable web technologies with backwards compatibility core at our mission and in our mind. Our front end uses HTML5 with Jinja 2 templating, CSS3 for styling, and vanilla JavaScript for interactivity, as well as Leaflet.js for interactive maps. By using standard web technologies and avoiding heavy frameworks, our application works across browsers and degrades gracefully over older devices. The backend is powered by Flash 3.0, which maintains backwards compatibility with Python 3.8 and above. SQL Alchemy for database operations with support for multiple database backends, and WorkZug for security utilities like password hashing. As mentioned, we use SQLite as our database, which is perfect for our scale as it provides ACID compliance and can easily migrate to PostgreSQL or MySQL as we hypothetically grow without changing our code base, thanks to the SQL Alchemy abstraction layer. Next, for our external APIs, we integrate with OpenStreetMap's Namatin service for geocoding, converting addresses to coordinates for accurate map placement. We implemented caching and fallback mechanisms to ensure reliability when this mapping fails. The stack is lightweight, performant, future-proof to an extent, and allows us to focus on building features that connect people rather than managing complex infrastructure or worrying about breaking changes. Welcome back. First, I will show you for our code demonstration scripts the data models that we wrote in models.py. Again, here's our data model implementation using SQL Alchemy. Notice how we define the user model with the built-in password security using WorkZug's hashing functions. The setPassword function, seen on line 29, generates a secure hash and checkPassword verifies without ever storing plain text passwords. Next, our event model uses foreign keys to establish relationships, which each event links to its creator through creator ID on line 66. We store flexible data like interests and tags as JSON and text columns, giving us schema flexibility while maintaining relational integrity. The db.relationship creates a convenient two-way link between users and events, making it easy to query all events created by this user in our application code. Next, I am showing us the matching and personalization algorithm in action. So in app.py, when When a user visits the Explorer page, we first retrieve their user interest from the database. Next, when we query upcoming events and calculate a match score, as seen on line 1036, for each one by finding the intersection between the user's interest and event tags. For example, if a user is interested in yoga and meditation and an event is tagged with both, it gets a score of 2. We then sort user events by match score first, so highly relevant events appear at the top, and then by date. This ensures users see events they're most likely to enjoy. Finally, we deduplicate by event name to avoid showing multiple identical events with different times, and then return the top 20 database personalized recommendations. And it renders in Explore.html, as you can see here with our templates. Takes place in Jinja. This algorithm runs in O of n time and scales efficiently as our event database grows.
So, like any project, Rooted was not without its challenges, but we were able to overcome those challenges in different creative and unique ways as a team. So, our challenges range from technical to non-technical. On the technical end, we had issues with data modeling, specifically differentiating between different attendee statistics and the rating statistics, and that created some jumbled messiness within our database. So, we were able to create two separate join tables and have different uniqueness constraints so that the databases were cleaner and we could compute each of those stats. On the language end, it can be really tough to implement a lot of languages and have your translations be really good. So we wanted to support all these languages and keep the code simple. So we were able to do that. Basically have more translations on the fly, and once the user selected what their language is, it would be saved under their global preferences. So, and then another issue we had was the map versus photo interaction and the Explore UX. So it was tough to make the Explore page feel rich and intuitive. We wanted the users to be able to spend time there and interact with different events that they were looking at. The way we fix this is making the JavaScript a little bit more fine-tuned, simplifying the behavior so that it wasn't trying to display all the images and the map at once. And that got rid of a lot of the bugginess in that issue. And then also we had a few non-technical challenges. So for one, trying to pin down user needs, we wanted to follow the we not me philosophy of the class. So that meant we really needed to figure out what sort of issues that these communities were facing and connect with them to try to figure out what was going on. The way that we did that was gathering feedback directly from different immigrant groups and asking what issues they would have, and what they would want an app to fix. And we were able to incorporate a lot of that into our app. And then um, trying to think about usability for different technical literacy levels was a challenge, as a lot of us interact with technology every day, and to put yourself in the shoes of someone who doesn't interact with that as often is often a challenge. So the way that we overcame that was simply by just putting the app in the hands of someone who doesn't use technology a lot. So, for example, um, I had my mom try to click through the app and do different tasks just to see how someone with a little lower level of technical literacy uh, would think things through and try to use the application. I think that helped a lot, especially within earlier versions that were much harder to use, and we were able to make a more usable product that we're showing today. And then Um, a challenge that is always going to face every group is just with organization and planning. So trying to make our code updates more concrete rather than just having them be in messages, and having, people sometimes be less organized within planning what changes were made and what features we were going to do. So the way that we fixed that was just by having um the stand-up meetings, and also making sure that our roles were very clear and well defined, and also using the Gantt chart and other organization things learned in class. So where do we see Rooted going in the future? Um, One of the key things we want to do is expand languages. We're trying to serve immigrant and these communities often speak a variety of different languages, so trying to help as many of them as possible, especially when a lot of apps don't support necessarily every language, and having it be good and translations that make sense. This is really a key thing that we're trying to target within our app. So this is something we could always improve on and can always expand. Um, and then another thing we want to do is improve recommendations. So making what events are recommended to which user and how we show different users the events that are in their area and which ones we think they would be most likely to go to. This is also something that most apps can always be improving on, but definitely something that we want to make better within our app. And then finally, we think it would be great for the app to partner with local organizations and communities so that one, we can get the app within the hands of users and also have a way for them to connect with local businesses and different immigrant groups and organizations so that they just have it as another tool in their toolbox. Um, but in the end, we always want to make sure that Rooted is first and foremost there to serve immigrants and make a crazy process a little bit less crazy and help them um, just find engaging and fun events in their area. So thank you guys so much for listening to our presentation today. We hope you had a great time and hope you learned a little bit about Rooted.